Greetings, my little triglets. Welcome to the Trig videos. This is section 6.4, and it's called the product and sum formulas. So we're going to add several more formulas to our repertoire. Um, you guys know that cosine of a minus b, you know that formula. And I'm going to add to that the cosine of a plus b. And we're just going to look at this for a minute and see where things come from. If I expand this one out, I get cosine a cosine b minus sine or plus sine a sine b. This one over here is cosine a cosine b minus sine a sine b. So if I'm putting those two together, I have a plus sine a sine b and a minus, so those actually go away, and I'm left with 2 cosine a cosine b's. So that is one of our formulas right there, that all of this equals this. Okay, this part right here is the sum of those two because it's got a plus sign. This right here is the product form of the same formula. These two do the same thing, but sometimes we need it as a sum, sometimes we need it as a product. Just depends on, what the process is. So we're going to write down these formulas right here. On the left side is going to be the product, and on the right side, its counterpart is going to be the sum. And these are do not memorize. I will give you these on any test or quiz. All right, so on the left side, the product form is 2 cosine A cosine B. That's the one we just did up above. That's equal to cosine of A minus B plus the cosine of A plus B. All right, there's one. The second one is 2 sine A sine B, and that is equal to the cosine of A minus B minus the cosine of A plus B. All right, I'm going to keep going here. There's two more. So 2 sine A cosine B is equal to sine of A plus B plus sine of A minus B. And the last one, 2 cosine A sine B is equal to sine of A plus B minus sine of A minus B. Okay, so what we're going to do for the first problem here is we're going to learn to convert from a product into a sum. So knowing what A and B are very critical because all we're going to do is plug them in there. So it actually makes it quite simple. So let's try one. Let's say that the cosine, or I want to express cosine of 6x cosine of 2x as a sum. Okay. Now, this right here, let's go back a page. Cosine cosine kind of looks like this one, but without the 2. So what we have to do is to accommodate that 2 is we're going to put it on the other side as a 1/2. So cosine of A, cosine of B, normally there's a 2 right here. Well, we're going to move it over and divide this side by a half, or divide it by 2, so it looks like it's multiplied by a 1/2. So then we have cosine of A minus B plus cosine of A plus B. Okay, now the reason we do that is now we can just take our formula here. I'm going to write it right underneath here, cosine of 6x cosine of 2x, and this now is the A and this is the B, so that's what goes in over here, cosine of 6x minus 2x and the cosine of 6x plus 2x. Okay, so don't make this difficult. All we're doing is figuring out what A and B are, putting it into the other form, the sum form of it. And we're taking the 2 that was here and we're moving it over to this side because they didn't have it the 2 here. Okay, it's not there, so it must have been moved to the other side. And what's left to do here is just cosine of 4x plus cosine of 8x. And voila, we're done. That's not so bad. All right, so that's from going from a product right here to a sum. Okay, let's go in reverse. Let's go from a sum to a product. All right, let me get back to the black ink here. So, if I have cosine of 3x minus cosine of 5x, which of the 4 of those equations does it match? So if you look back in your notes, look at the second one down. Okay, it matches number 2 of the 4 formulas we wrote. So I'm going to write that directly underneath here. Now this is kind of a critical point here. If you don't do this, sometimes you get messed up. Write the formula right below the problem that they give you. And the reason I want you to do that is to now notice that, see, the 3x is not A, it's not B, it's A minus B. And you see the 5x, it's not A, it's not B, it's A plus B. So we don't know what A and B are individually, but together we know what they are. We know that A minus B is 3x, and we know that A plus B is 5x. So we solved this system. You did this in algebra. We're going to add these together. I get 2A. The b's actually cancel out, and then I have 8x. So now I figured out what A is. It's 4x. So I'm going to keep that on the back burner for a moment. All right, then I have to plug that back in. Let's put it in like right here. So I get 4x minus b equals 3x. Well, to make that work, b has to equal x, 1x. So we have our a and b now. Now we take this formula, which is, let's see, this is the sum version, and I want to match it with its product version. And its product version is 2 sine A sine B. We know what A and B are. We found them right here and here, so let's plug those in. So 2 sine 4x sine x. So that's the product form from the sum. So you have to keep looking back and forth on those 4 formulas. Okay, I have one more to show you, and the directions are to prove that sine of 7x plus sine of 5x over cosine of 7x plus cosine of 5x equals the tangent of 6x. All right, how can 7 and 5 get you 6? Well, we're going to have to figure this out. You know in algebra that it has to be multiplication before you can cancel some things out. Right now, both of these are in their sum form. We need to change it to their product form. Okay, and that's like the last one we just did. So we need to take them individually. So here's the numerator, and then we're going to do the denominator by itself. So sine 7x plus sine 5x. Which of those 4 formulas does it match? It looks like number 3. So underneath this, I'm going to write the third one, sine of a plus b plus sine of a minus b. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that I know that a minus b is 5x and a plus b is 7x. I do my little system thing over here. A plus b is 7, a minus b is 5. 2a, b's cancel, equal 12x. So a equals 6x. Put that back in. I'm going to put it in right here. So 6x minus b equals 5x. So b would have to be x. All right, so now I know my a and my b for the numerator. Let's go do the denominator. Let's do it in a different color. So cosine 7x, cosine 5x. Which of the four does it match? Looks like it matches number 1. So right underneath this, I'm going to write the number 1 formula there. Cosine A minus B plus cosine A plus B. Doing that, I see that A minus B is 7x, A plus B is 5x. Let's write that over here in a little system. So it looks like we're going to get kind of the same thing. Divide by 2, so A is 6. Now let's put that in right here. So I have 6x minus b equals 7x. Well, you can't subtract and get a higher number, so this b must be negative x. So b is negative x, and a is 6x. Okay, so all the preliminary work is done. All we have to do now is find the product form of these. So if I look at the third one, the product form of the numerator is 2 sine A cosine B. The product form of this one, which was the number 1 formula, is 2 cosine A cosine B. All right, let's plug those in and actually put it back together as a numerator and denominator. So 2 sine, the A over here was 6x. The B over here was x, so cosine x. All right, so that's that one. This now is going on the bottom, so 2 cosine A again is 6x, and B is negative x. Okay, now thinking of algebra, I can cancel the 2's, and right here, cosine, is it even or odd? Go, Stephen. So cos is even. That means you drop the negative sign. If it's odd, that means the negative sign is out front. Okay, but this one's even, so we just drop it. So this technically is really just cosine of x. So then I can cancel those two, and what's left is tangent of 6x. And lo and behold, go back up here, that's what we wanted it to be. So, lots of work for one little problem. So you have to do the numerator and denominator separately, figure out what equation they match, which formula, figure out A and B, then put those into the product side. Okay, well that's it for product sum formulas. Make sure you're using them carefully, and they will reward you in many big ways. All right, Trig love, don't forget. Ta-ta for now.